From the moment it was published in 1995, Simple Abundance was taken into the hearts of thousands and soon millions of women, becoming a New York Times bestseller for 2 years and a classic that continues to inspire new readers. Now, more than ever, we need Simple Abundance. This book contains 366 evocative essays for every day of the year, shows you how your daily life can be an expression of your authentic self as you choose the tastiest vegetables from your garden, establish a sacred space for meditation, and follow the rhythm of the seasons. Here, the mystical alchemy of style and spirit is celebrated, and your true path leads to a happier and more fulfilling way of life. Embrace its gentle lessons, savor its sublime common sense, dare to live its passionate truth, and share its extraordinary and exhilarating gift with every woman you encounter. The authentic self is the soul made visible. February arrives cold, wet, and gray. Her gifts distinguished for only the most discerning spirits to see. Gentle is our path, gratitude the thread we weave into the fabric of our daily lives this month, giving thanks for our simply abundant lives and asking for the gift of one thing more, grateful hearts. February 1st, Creative Excursions, the gift of time. Walt Whitman once said, "I celebrate myself and sing myself. I loaf and invite my soul." Now that you've met your authentic self, wouldn't you like to get to know her better? You can when you start going on creative excursions together. Creative excursions are regular solo rendezvous with your authentic self designed for this purpose. In the beginning of an intimate relationship, the best gift you can offer another person is the investment of quality time together. So it is with your authentic self. You've probably been ignoring her for decades. Now it's time to make amends. What will you do? Celebrate yourself. Find pastimes that make your heart sing and your spirit sing. Take in a movie, one of those English period dramas you love. Have an early breakfast before work at a new French cafe. Cruise the aisles at that incredible Italian market. Explore a fabulous thrift shop. Browse in used bookstores. Visit an art supply store. And imagine all the wonderful ways in which you can begin expressing yourself. When you embark on creative excursions, your authentic self will lovingly reveal to you the beautiful mystery that is you. This occurs spontaneously as you make the pursuit of personal growth a sacred endeavor. Having encouraged you, now let me warn you, this is not as easy as it sounds. In fact, for me, the hardest part of the Simple Abundance path was creative excursions. I was simply not used to having fun by myself. It seemed too frivolous, too self-indulgent. Be prepared for strong emotional resistance. Excuses will be plentiful. You're too broke, you're too busy. Who will watch the kids? Maybe next week when you're not so frazzled. Don't give in. Creative excursions require an investment of time, not money. None of us are too busy to find 2 hours a week. If we are, we seriously need to reconsider our personal priorities. Hire a babysitter. Let your spouse watch the kids. Carve out time when they are in school. Use your lunch hour at work. There are ways to do it once you realize that nurturing our imaginations and developing a relationship with our authentic selves is an investment we can no longer afford to put off. This week, commit to a weekly creative excursion with your authentic self as you follow the Simple Abundance path. Expect nothing less than signs and wonders to follow. February 2nd, knowing what you love. Alice Kohler said, "Perhaps loving something is the only starting place there is for making your life your own." It should be straightforward, this knowing what we love, but it seldom is. After decades of letting other people influence us, the media, the magazines, our mothers, our friends, we're going to have to go cold turkey. The only opinion that counts from now on is your own. This week, try an experiment. Plan a creative excursion to go browsing in a home furnishings and decorative accessory shop. Go somewhere you've never been before, so that you're looking at everything with fresh eyes. What startles you, calls to you, excites you? Write it down in a small little spiral notebook that you can keep in your own purse. Is it the shape of a teapot, the colors of a hooked rug, the textures in an exquisite dried flower arrangement? You'll know what you love the moment you see it. It's that familiar wow reaction. Trust the impulse, capture the encounter, record the clues. These will be important later on. Then, next week, on another creative excursion, go browsing, not to buy, at a new clothing boutique. You know, that place that always intrigues you but you stay away from because it's too expensive. The spring fashion should be arriving about now. See what's new. See what's you. Your spirit perks at the sight of a golden-rod linen blazer. So why are you always dressed in black? A fabulous flowered gorget pleated skirt and tunic top wows you, but you always wear jeans because it's more practical. Maybe, just maybe, feeling gorgeous outweighs practicality. Be open to authentic aspirations. Remember, this is the year for asking questions. The most essential one we can ask is, what is it I truly love? Be patient. We're not going to overhaul our lives, our homes, or our wardrobes in a week. Trust that your authentic life will unfold naturally and with grace. February 3rd, discovering your authentic self. Oscar Wilde said, "To love oneself is the beginning of a lifelong romance." One of the surprises that comes when you catch glimpses of your authentic self is the discovery that she's such a positive, upbeat woman. She's always smiling, she's always calm, she's always reassuring. She exudes confidence. Who is this woman, you might ask, and does she bear any resemblance to you? Yes and no. This is who you are on the inside, the real you. If you don't act this way all the time, it's simply because you haven't evolved to a higher plane of existence yet. Neither have I. Maureen Williamson believes that this will come when we embrace the goddess who resides within. When a woman falls in love with the magnificent possibilities within herself, the forces that would limit those possibilities hold less and less sway over her, she writes in A Woman's Worth. But occasionally we get glimmers of what it's like on the higher plane on a good hair day, when we've had 12 hours of sleep, when we soar through a business meeting thoroughly prepared, when we fit into last year's clothes, when we throw a great party and everyone enjoys themselves immensely. When moments like this occur, we tend to think that all's right within the world. Everything just fell into place. What we don't realize is that all's right with ourselves. We're in the flow of life and moving it. We're in place. That special alignment when authenticity and reality merge into wholeness. But how do we tap into this spiritual energy source more often? How do we assess the flow of life more frequently? How do we learn to live at full throttle? Meditation helps. So do long walks, soaks in scented bubble baths, washing our hair a day before it needs it, smiling at everyone we meet, being more gentle with ourselves, watching a sunrise or a sunset, petting an animal, playing with a child, having some small pleasure to look forward to every day, being grateful. But above all, being open to change, welcoming it. Watch, wait. Time will unfold and fulfill its purpose, Maureen Williamson advises. While we wait, we must not go unconscious. We must think and grow, rejoice and dream, but kneel and pray. There is holiness in the air today. We are giving birth to goddessness. They are who we are, for they are us. Friends, therapists, artists, businesswomen, teachers, healers, mothers. Start laughing, girls. We have a new calling. February 4th. The authentic self is the soul made visible. Robert Browning said that my business is not to remake myself, but make the absolute best of what God made. Making the absolute best of ourselves is not an easy task. It is a pleasurable pursuit. It is the reason we are born, but it requires patience, persistence, and perseverance. For many of us, it also requires prayer. That's because we find it far easier to learn to live by our own lights when we access a higher source of power to illuminate our path. The filmmaker and writer Julia Cameron calls this switching on spiritual electricity that transcends our own limitations. In my own journey, I have found this to be very true. Usually, I limit the times I requested that the power be turned on to the occasions when I was appearing in public, giving workshops, lecturing, holding business meetings. Then it occurred to me that this was like living in a house with electricity, but turning on the lights only for a couple of hours every few months. And I wondered why I was frequently bumping into obstacles. So I started to ask for the power to be switched on in my daily life. As a mother, a wife, a writer, a friend. When I asked, it was turned on. When I didn't, I stayed in the dark. You don't have to be a master electrician to understand what's going on here. Someone has to turn on the switch. Asking is the way of activating spiritual electricity. When there is light, we see remarkably well. We see with clarity. And what we can see if we look deep within is that the authentic self is the soul made visible. Do not try to remake yourselves into something you're not. Just try making the best of what God made. The sacred art and craft of nurturing our souls and the souls of those we love is simple, abundant soulcraft. Begin today by turning on the light. February 5th. The world is too much with us. William Hazlitt said, "What I mean by living to one's self is living in the world as in it, not of it." The world is too much with us. Poet William Wordsworth complained over 200 years ago, "Getting and spending we lay waste our powers." Today, many women would agree with him. We're chronically exhausted from the getting, the amount of energy spent earning a living and juggling the demands of home and career. And the reality of the recession means we're paying now for the spending of yesterday. But despite all the doom and gloom that constantly assaults our senses, there is a way for us to ransom our lives and reclaim our futures. It consists in turning away from the world to recognize what in life makes us truly happy. For each of us, what that is will be different. But once we obtain this inner knowledge, we will possess the ability to transform our outer world. You can live a lifetime and, at the end of it, know more about other people than you know about yourself. The pilot and writer Burl Markham reminds us. We cannot let this continue to occur. Today, deliberately turn away from the world. Don't read the newspapers or watch the nightly news for a week. Longer, if you can stand it. Shun the glossy magazines featuring expensive suits designed for success. Wean yourself away from the opinions of others, however talented, creative, and celebrated they may be. As you continue to journey within, absorb the shock of becoming aware that many of your preferences and opinions are not truly your own. Begin instead to listen to the whisper of your authentic self telling you which way to go. We are always being shown the next step for our uniquely personal journey. It may be as simple as clearing up your desk so that you can find that adult extension course brochure with the watercolor classes. Only when the clamor of the outside world is silenced will you be able to hear the deeper vibration. Listen carefully. Spirit's playing a song. February 6th, Remaking Your Own World. Louise Nevelson said, "I have made my world, and it is a much better world than I ever saw outside." Many creation myths say it took over 6 days to make the world. It will take us a little longer to remake our own, but we can begin where Spirit did, by declaring that there is light to illuminate our journey of self-discovery. The Quaker tradition teaches us that this light is within each of us. The Quakers, or members of the Religious Society of Friends, are a perfect example of individuals who manage the delicate balance of living in the world, but not belonging to it. This is because they refuse to segment their lives into the sacred and the secular. Instead, Quakers believe that all of the life's daily experiences are spiritual in nature, from preparing a family meal to protesting political policy. The British writer George Gorman had observed that the essence of Quaker spirituality is the certainty that everything we do has religious significance. It is not cutting ourselves off from life, but entering deeply and fully into it. Simplicity is the common thread that stitches together Quaker lives, homes, and dress. Their weekly worship service or meeting is a silent meditation. Rhythm, reverence, and reflection are their hallmarks. These touchstones can help us as well as we attend and attempt to make our personal world. Restoring a sense of rhythm to our lives is the first step. How much rhythm do you have in your personal world? Children are not the only ones who need regular bedtimes, meal times, and quiet times. Their mothers do too. Think of the steady, reassuring rhythm of the natural world, the ebb and flow of the tides, the reoccurring cycle of the 4 seasons, the monthly phases of the moon, and the daily progression from day into night. Rhythm needs to be the cornerstone in your personal world as well. All of us lead busy lives, some more frantic and frazzled than others. We need to learn where to draw the line and how to say no. Today, be willing to reflect quietly on the role that rhythm plays in your daily life. Your heart will always tell you what's working and what's not. Restoring rhythm to the way we conduct our affairs can bring contentment and a sense of well-being that will nurture and sustain when the cares of the world can't be left behind. February 7th. An artist is someone who creates. Agnes de Milly said that living is a form of not being sure, not knowing what next or how. The artist never entirely knows. We guess. We may be wrong, but we take leaps after leap in the dark. Most of us feel more secure when we play it safe. We wear a string of pearls, for example, instead of that hand-painted glass beads we glimpsed and passed up at the crafts fair. Yet, it is precisely those red and purple glass beads around the neck of another woman that stop us dead in our tracks. "Wow," we mumble as we pass around the street. "That looks fantastic." We also wonder how she knew it would. She probably didn't. She probably just took a leap in the dark and trusted her instincts. She trusted her own sense of style. The necklace whispered, "Try me." And she listened. She played at living in a small way, to be sure, but relevant all the same, by taking a chance. Every day we're given a chance to embrace the new. It could be serving focaccia at dinner tonight instead of garlic bread. It could be choosing a pair of floral socks that make our feet want to dance instead of that plain pair we automatically reach for. It could be trading in the headband for a short, sleek, sophisticated cut that really feels right. Psychologist Susan Jeffers suggests we take a risk a day, one small or bold stroke that makes you feel great once you've done it. Today, take a real risk that can change your life. Start thinking of yourself as an artist and your life as a work in progress. Works in progress are never perfect, but changes can be made to the rough draft during rewrites. Another color can be added to the canvas. The film can be tightened during editing. Art evolves, so does life. Art is never stagnant. Neither is life. The beautiful, authentic life you are creating for yourself and those you love is your art. It's the highest art. Since you're like no other being ever created since the beginning of time, you are incomparable. Writer Brenda Euland reminds you. Hold that thought. Have an amazing week, my friends, and we'll see you next Monday for week 2 of February. Simple Abundance.